In the headlines, a big clue on the MAGA future. U.S. President Donald Trump signals who he sees as the future of the MAGA movement, hinting that his Vice President JD Vance could be the heir apparent, but says the final decision is still far off. In South America, Brazil's ex-President Jair Bolsonaro is under house arrest. This after the Supreme Court says he violated conditions tied to an alleged coup plot. The case is drawing reactions, including from Trump himself. $1 billion arms boost for Kyiv. 4 NATO countries agreed to jointly buy American weapons for Ukraine under a new plan. This massive order aims to bolster Ukraine's defenses as its war against Russia drags on. In a historic first, the King of Malaysia touches down in Russia for high-level talks. The visit, seen as a major diplomatic step, could signal stronger ties between the two nations. Flash floods devastate the Himalayas. A cloud burst in India's Uttarakhand leaves at least 4 dead and dozens more missing. Rescue teams are racing against time amid tough conditions, scrambling to find survivors. China is on health alert. Chikungunya virus cases are surging in Guangdong province. Officials are ramping up mosquito control measures using drones, smart traps, and health teams to curb the spread. For sports news, Naomi Osaka stunts in Montreal. The tennis star reaches the Canadian Open quarters just days after splitting with her coach. And in the entertainment world, Lady Gaga leads this year's VMA nominations with 12 nods, putting her ahead of Bruno Mars and Kendrick Lamar. I'm Jayne Codnita. Newsline World starts now. United States President Donald Trump is signaling who he sees as the future of the Make America Great Again or MAGA movement, hinting that his current Vice President JD Vance may be first in line. Speaking at the White House, Trump praised his running mate, calling him the most likely successor, but stopped short of endorsing anyone outright. Trump noted that other GOP leaders like Secretary of State Marco Rubio remain in the mix, suggesting that alliances within the party could still evolve. But Trump emphasized it's too early to make any firm declarations.
You said this morning that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought JD Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is JD Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with JD in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
A lawmaker is sounding the alarm over what he calls a dangerous precedent in the 2025 national budget. Davao City 3rd District Representative Isidro Ungab is questioning the legality of sudden increases in automatic appropriations, warning that it undermines existing laws and the constitutional power of Congress. MJ Mondihar for the full story.
In his privileged speech, Davao City 3rd District Representative Isidro Ungab flagged major changes in the special accounts in the General Fund, or SAGF, under the automatic appropriations of the 2025 national budget. The SAGF includes programs funded annually without congressional review, covering agencies like the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Customs, Department of Information Communications Technology, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and others. But Ungab revealed that from the President's original proposal of 27 billion pesos, the SAGF was increased by the Bicameral Conference Committee to over 40 billion pesos, a 47% jump.
Such manipulations on the special accounts on general fund allocations set an extremely perilous precedent that threatens the very foundation of our budgetary framework and the rule of law that protects these funds from political interference.
According to the law, automatic appropriations are no longer subject to annual congressional deliberations as they are based on existing statutes, such as the National Tax Allotment, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao Block Grant, and Special Road Funds. But according to Congressman Ungab, former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations and Ways and Means, that the principle of automatic appropriations appears to have been violated in the 2025 budget.
Throughout my 15 years of service in this House, the items classified under automatic appropriations have remained absolutely intact. These appropriations have been consistently recognized and respected by the House Committee on Appropriations, the Senate counterpart, and both chambers of Congress as legally mandated expenditures that are explicitly protected by their enabling laws. These automatic appropriations must not be subjected to alteration or amendment as they constitute non-discretionary obligations established by law.
Because of this, Ungab questioned the bicameral committee's action in approving the 2025 budget.
Has the Bicameral Conference Committee, by unilaterally increasing SAGF by 12.7 billion, rendered the entire 2025 expenditure program constitutionally defective?
He also revealed that the BICAM seemingly altered funding provisions in at least 14 existing laws, many of which govern earmark revenues. This includes the budget cut for PhilHealth sourced from sin tax revenues under the Universal Healthcare Law.
The Constitution vests in Congress the power of the purse, but more crucially, it requires us to exercise this power with faithfulness to existing statutes. The General Appropriations Act cannot amend or override special laws previously enacted by Congress.
In the end, Congressman Ungab appealed to fellow lawmakers to respect existing laws and safeguard the integrity of the national budget.
I respectfully appeal, let us act now to correct this injustice. Let us never forget the power of the force is not ours to wield, but ours to safeguard for the people we serve.
For Government of the Philippines, I'm Jay Mondeja, SMNI News.
Japan is grappling with extreme heat as it records its hottest day ever. Hector Kikuzaki has more.
Highest ever temperature of 41.8 degrees Celsius on Tuesday, August 5th in Isesaki City, Gunma Prefecture. This broke last week's record of 41.2 degrees in Tamba, Hyogo Prefecture, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. Over 53,000 people have been taken to hospital this summer due to heat stroke, the Fire and Disaster Management Agency reported. The country is also dealing with low rainfall and a surge in stink bugs, which are threatening the rice harvest, a major food staple. In response, the government is launching new measures to support farmers, including pest control and drought countermeasures. Farm Minister Shinjiro Koizumi said they are moving quickly to protect crops and avoid a repeat of last year's rice shortage, which led to record high prices due to heat damage and policy missteps. Hector Kikuzaki, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Still in Japan, fireworks meant to light up a summer festival ended up igniting panic at sea as barges loaded with fireworks caught fire off the coast of Yokohama City. The night sky lit up in bursts of pink and yellow as flames consumed the cargo, forcing 5 workers to leap from the burning barge to escape the blaze. They were later rescued by the Yokohama Coast Guard. 1 suffered minor injuries. Organizers of the Minato Mirai Summer Festival told police that the fireworks launch system had malfunctioned. They tried to halt the system right after the fire broke out, but launches continued from the barge. 15 hours later, the Japanese Coast Guard confirmed the fire had been extinguished on Tuesday morning. Every year, the festival draws large crowds in traditional yukata to witness the dazzling fireworks display along Yokohama's waterfront. Police and Coast Guard are investigating the cause of the incident. In Russia's Far East, several volcanoes are now active following a powerful earthquake that rocked the Kamchatka Peninsula. Among them is Kluchevskaya Sopka, Eurasia's highest active volcano. Sarah Santos reports on the growing volcanic unrest.
Smoke and lava lit up the skies over Kamchatka this week as Kluchevskaya Sopka continued to erupt, joined by a string of other volcanoes in the region. Footage from the 4th and 5th of August shows ash clouds rising and lava flowing down the slopes. Scientists say the volcanic chain reaction began just days after Kamchatka was rocked by a massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake on July 30, the strongest in over 70 years. According to Russia's top volcanologists, the quake triggered the reawakening of multiple volcanoes. Avachinsky was the first, sending gas and ash nearly 300 meters into the air. Then Kluchevskaya Sopka erupted with an ash column rising 6 kilometers high. Even the long dome at Krashenikov volcano, quiet for more than 600 years, showed signs of life on August 3. Experts now warn that Kambani may be next. Seismologists are closely monitoring the area for signs of another eruption. Despite the intense seismic activity, no casualties were reported. Tsunami warnings were issued across the Pacific, but waves remained within safe limits. Scientists say volcanic activity in the region may continue for weeks, and local communities are being urged to remain alert. Reporting for Newsline World, Sarah Santos, SMNI News.
Up next, Brazil's ex-President Jair Bolsonaro is under house arrest. This after the Supreme Court says he violated conditions tied to an alleged coup plot. The case is drawing reactions, including from Trump himself. And $1 billion arms boost for Kyiv. 4 NATO countries agreed to jointly buy American weapons for Ukraine under a new plan. This massive order aims to bolster Ukraine's defenses as its war against Russia drags on. More news when Newsline World returns.
Matunog ngayon ang salitang impeachment sa Pilipinas dahil sa nakambang impeachment trial kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero ang tanong ng taong bayan, ito ba ay para sa interes ng bansa o para sa politikal na motibo lamang? Sa ilalim ng saligang batas, may mga opisyal ng pamahalaan na maaaring tanggalin sa pwesto sa pamamagitan ng impeachment. Kabilang dito ang Pangulo, Pangalawang Pangulo, mga mahistrado ng Korte Suprema, mga miyembro ng Constitutional Commission at ang Ombudsman. Maaaring ma-impeach ang mga nabanggit na opisyal dahil sa matinding paglabag sa konstitusyon, pagtataksil sa bayan, panunuhol, katiwalian, mabibigat na krimen o pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko. Sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, ilang matataas na opisyal na ang humarap sa impeachment trial. Noong taong 2000, si Pangulong Joseph Erap Estrada ang unang Pangulo ng bansa na humarap sa isang impeachment trial. Taong 2011 naman, si Ombudsman Mercedes Gutierrez ay naharap din sa impeachment dahil sa umano'y kapabayaan sa pag-aksyon sa mga kaso ng katiwalian. Hindi na siya humarap sa pagdinig sapagkat bago pa magsimula ang impeachment trial ay nagbitiw na ito sa pwesto. Noong 2012, si Chief Justice Renato Corona ay napatalsik naman mula sa Korte Suprema sa unang pagkakataon na impeach ang isang Chief Justice matapos mapatunayang hindi niya idineklara ang kanyang Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth o SALN ng buo. Ano nga ba ang proseso ng pag-impeach sa isang mataas na opisyal batay sa konstitusyon? Maaaring magsampa ng reklamo ang isang miyembro ng Kongreso o isang mamamayan basta may sumusuportang kongresista. Kapag 1/3 ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang sumang-ayon, tuloy na agad ang proseso ng impeachment sa Senado. Sa sandaling maaprubahan ito ng House of Representatives, binubuo na ang Articles of Impeachment, isang dokumento na naglalaman ng mga aligasyon o batayan para sa impeachment. Pero tandaan, walang impeachment proceedings na maaaring isampa laban sa parehong opisyal ng higit sa isang beses sa loob ng isang taon. Ang Senado naman ang magsisilbing impeachment court kapag ang Pangulo ang nililitis, ang punong mahistrado ang namumuno, ngunit hindi bumoboto. 2/3 ng mga senador ang kailangan para hatulan ang opisyal. Anong parusa? Pagkakatanggal sa pwesto at diskwalipikasyon na makabalik sa gobyerno. Ang impeachment ay hindi simpleng usapin sa politika. Isa itong seryosong proseso na maaaring makapekto sa kinabukasan ng bansa. Kaya sa panahong puno ng ingay at intriga, kinakailangan nating maging mapanuri, patas at maging makabayan. Bantayan natin ang katotohanan, pumanig tayo sa hustisya at higit sa lahat, unahin natin ang interes ng sambayanang Pilipino.
Brazil's ex-president Jair Bolsonaro is now under house arrest after the Supreme Court ruling that he violated restrictions tied to his alleged coup plot. The case has triggered diplomatic tensions with the United States, with President Donald Trump calling the trial a witch hunt. Joy Tabanao reports.
Brazil's Supreme Court has placed former President Jair Bolsonaro under house arrest, saying that he breached court-ordered restrictions linked to his ongoing trial for attempting to overturn the 2022 election. Justice Alexandre de Moraes, who leads the case and is sanctioned by the U.S., says Bolsonaro used social media accounts of his sons to post messages inciting attacks on the judiciary and encouraging foreign intervention. The Brazilian court also banned him from using mobile phones and receiving visitors, except his lawyers or those pre-approved by the court. The ruling follows the weekend rallies by pro-Bolsonaro supporters in cities across Brazil, where his son, Flavio, a sitting senator, briefly put him on speakerphone before posting and later on deleting a video of the call online. Bolsonaro's lawyers deny any violations and say they will appeal. But the case has already strained Brazil to U.S. relations. U.S. President Donald Trump condemned the trial as political persecution. Last week, Trump imposed a sweeping 50% tariff on Brazilian goods, the highest current U.S. rate. The U.S. State Department also issued a statement condemning the ruling and vowing to hold those aiding and abetting sanctioned conduct accountable. Brazilian President Lula da Silva fired back, accusing Washington of meddling in Brazilians' internal affairs. He slammed U.S. sanctions as economic coercion and said Brazil will no longer be subordinate to the dollar. Trump has also warned of further tariffs against BRICS, nations like Brazil, claiming they are plotting to dethrone the U.S. dollar, a claim the bloc strongly denies. This is Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent for God and my beloved Philippines.
4 European allies are stepping up their military support for Ukraine under a new NATO initiative. These countries will jointly purchase $1 billion worth of weapons from U.S. stockpiles in a move aimed at bolstering Ukraine's defense against Russia. Prince Tripoli for the details.
A new wave of international military support is underway for Ukraine. The Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark have committed to a combined $1 billion worth of weapons purchased from the United States, the first under NATO's newly launched Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, or PURL, a fast-track weapons program launched by President Donald Trump and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. The Netherlands on Monday was the first country to announce its participation with 500 million euros or $578 million US. Norway said it will contribute around 1.5 billion Norwegian crowns, or $146 million. The Dutch government is contributing the largest share, nearly 500 million euros, or $577 million US, to buy Patriot missile parts and other defense systems. Sweden will provide $275 million of that Scandinavian package, which is aimed at delivering Patriot munitions. anti-tank weapons, and other battlefield supplies. The announcement marks one of the largest multilateral arms contributions since the war began. Meanwhile, the United States will release the weapons in $500 million tranches, allowing for faster and more direct delivery under the PURL framework. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the initiative, calling it a foundation for long-term security across the continent. Zelensky also revealed that he spoke with President Trump recently, just 3 days before the American president stated the deadline for Russia to present a peace proposal. While the contents of their discussion remain undisclosed, Zelensky mentioned they covered sanctions and bilateral defense cooperation.
Дуже важливо, що в Москві почали зважати на тиск світу, на тиск Сполучених Штатів Америки, на загрозу більш жорстких санкцій за війну. І дійсно один з ключових санкційних треків проти російської нафти, щоб Росія пішла на мир. У неї мають закінчитись гроші на війну. Працюємо заради цього, і я вдячний усім в світі, хто...
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Shibley, your citizen correspondent.
Help continues to reach war-torn Gaza. The United Arab Emirates carried out its 63rd airdrop of humanitarian aid as part of its ongoing Birds of Goodness campaign under the chivalrous Night 3 initiative. Fatima Nauzil has the story.
In Gaza, where families continue to suffer amid months of war and blockade, the United Arab Emirates has carried out its 63rd airdrop of humanitarian aid as part of its ongoing Birds of Goodness relief campaign. The latest aid airdrop over Gazan skies was conducted in coordination with Jordan and with the participation of France, Germany, Belgium, and Italy. Footage shows cargo planes loaded with emergency supplies parachuting aid over areas of northern Gaza, where civilians scrambled to retrieve packages. So far, the UAE says it has delivered more than 3,800 tons of food and relief items by air. On the same day, 32 trucks also entered Gaza by land. Meanwhile, the situation on the ground remains dire. According to Gaza's health ministry, over 61,000 people have been killed and more than 150,000 injured since the war began in October 2023. UNICEF says children in Gaza continue to die not only from airstrikes but also from malnutrition, dehydration, and the collapse of health services. The agency is calling for an immediate ceasefire and unfettered access to humanitarian aid. As humanitarian efforts continue, aid groups stress the scale of need in Gaza remains massive, and time is running out for thousands of vulnerable families in the war-torn enclave. Reporting, this has been Fatima Azul, SMNI News.
A surge in Chikungunya virus cases has triggered an emergency response in China's Guangdong province, with over thousands of infections reported in one city alone. Authorities are now ramping up mosquito control and even deploying high-tech traps and drones to prevent further spread. Andrea Santos for the details.
Authorities in southern China are scrambling to contain the chikungunya outbreak as cases in Guangdong continue to climb. Guangdong's Foshan city has reported more than 7,000 infections since June, prompting a public health response. Local teams are releasing thousands of fish into water bodies to eat mosquito larvae. Drones and so-called electronic sentries are also being used to track and reduce mosquito population in real time. Chikungunya is a mosquito-borne virus that causes sudden fever, joint pain, rashes, and fatigue. While most patients recover, the illness can sometimes lead to long-term complications, and in rare cases, death. There's no antiviral treatment for chikungunya, and while 2 vaccines have been approved in the United States, they are not yet widely available. Doctors typically manage symptoms with medication for pain and fever. Globally, more than 240,000 infections and 90 deaths have been reported this year, as per the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a travel advisory for Guangdong this month. urging travelers to take enhanced precautions. Other nations battling active outbreaks include Bolivia, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Mayotte, Reunion, Somalia, and Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the US CDC has flagged Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Thailand, and Nigeria as high-risk zones, though no official outbreaks have been declared there. Andrea Santos, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Big moves in our sports update today. Rashid Khan dazzles on debut as the Invincibles crushed London Spirit in the 100, while Naomi Osaka storms into the Canadian Open quarterfinals just days after parting ways with her coach, Patrick Mouratoglou. Here's Carlo De La Peña for our sports news.
After choosing to bat first, London Spirit quickly crumbled as the Oval Invincibles bowled them out with ease. They were dismissed for just 80 runs in 94 balls, the second lowest total ever recorded in the men's division of the 100. On his debut, Rashid Khan made an immediate impact, claiming 3 wickets for only 11 runs. He was well supported by England all-rounder Sam Curran, who also took 3 wickets for 18 runs, including a 47.1 miles per hour delivery, now recognized as the slowest wicket-taking ball by a seamer in the tournament's history. Despite the challenging pitch conditions, the Invincibles chased down the target comfortably with 31 balls to spare, a strong statement from the reigning champions as they begin their title defense in a dominant fashion. Naomi Osaka and coach Patrick Mouratoglou ended a 10-month partnership just ahead of the Canadian Open. Now ranked number 49 in the world, Osaka is showing signs of a comeback, powering through the Canadian hardcourt swing, where she has historically thrived. Osaka has now reached the quarterfinals in Montreal and is set to face Alina Svitolina Tuesday night for a spot in the semis. She says she's focused on building momentum on the surface that suits her best. Osaka is still eyeing her first WTA title since winning the Australian Open in 2021. And with the US Open just weeks away, her timing couldn't be better. This is Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
Up next, flash floods devastate the Himalayas. A cloud burst in India's Uttarakhand leaves at least 4 dead and dozens more missing. Rescue teams are racing against time amid tough conditions, scrambling to find survivors. And a historic first, the King of Malaysia touches down in Russia for high-level talks. The visit, seen as a major diplomatic step, could signal stronger ties between the two nations. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
Isang digmaan na parang pelikula. Missiles, drones, at bunker-busting bombs. Pero ang epekto, totohanan. Daan-daang patay, wasak na infrastruktura, at nagmahal ang presyo ng langis na nakaapekto sa pandaigdigang merkado. Ito ang tinaguriang 12-day war o 12 araw na gyera sa pagitan ng Iran at Israel. Isang gyerang nagbago sa takbo ng politika, ekonomiya at seguridad, hindi lang sa Middle East kundi sa buong mundo. Hunyo 13, 2025, binomba ng Israel ang Iran para pigilan ang umano'y pagbuo ng nuclear weapons. Gumanti ang Iran. Libu-libong missiles at drones ang pinakawalan na ikinamatay ng 28 sa Israel. Sa loob ng 12 araw, kaliwat kanang opensiba ang inilunsad ng magkabilang panig. Hunyo 22, sumali na ang Amerika. 3 nuclear sites sa Iran ang binomba gamit ang B-2 stealth bombers sa Isfahan, Fordo at Natanz. Sabi ng US, layo nitong hadlangan ang nuclear program ng Iran. Pero para sa Tehran, ito raw ay pagtalikod sa diplomasya. Hunyo 24, inanunsyo ni US President Donald Trump ang ceasefire sa pagitan ng Israel at Iran. Pero ilang oras pa lang, muling nagkagirian. May ulat ng missile strike ng Iran na itinanggi nito kaya gumanti ang Israel. Sa huli, tumigil din ang putukan. Parehong panig nagdeklara ng tagumpay. Parehas ding nagturuan kung sino nga ba ang lumabag sa ceasefire. Ngunit para kay Trump, pareho lang lumabag ang dalawang panig. Bandang gabi ng Hunyo 24, tumalab na rin sa wakas ang ceasefire. Ngunit habang pansamantalang natahimik ang putukan, nananatiling mainit ang mga tanong. May saysay pa ba ang diplomatikong kasunduan kung nauuna pa rin ang dahas? Marami ang umaasang ang tigil putukan ay simula ng mas mahinahong diskusyon. Pero ang duda nananatili. Sa Israel, nagtago ang mga sibilyan sa mga bomb shelter. Habang sa Iran, maraming taga-Tehran ang napilitang umalis sa kanilang mga tahanan patungong Turkey at Armenia para makaligtas sa gulo. Sa Iran, ayon sa health ministry nila, 610 na ang patay, 4,746 ang sugatan. Sa Israel, 28 ang nasawi, ayon sa Army Radio. Marami rin sa military commander at scientist ng Iran ang nasawi. Sa Israel, umabot sa 8.7 bilyong dolyar ang kabuang gastos sa digmaan. Katumbas ito ng halos 725 milyong dolyar kada araw sa loob ng 12 araw, habang ang Iran nahirapang makabangon dahil sa nasirang pasilidad. Matapos ang deklarasyon ng ceasefire, nakatutok na ulit ang puwersa ng Israel sa Gaza. Ang Iran walang plano na agad makipagnegosasyon sa Estados Unidos. Bagaman sinuspindi rin nito ang muling pakikipagnegosasyon sa US patungkol sa kanilang nuclear program, bukas pa rin ang pinto ng diplomasya. Tuloy pa rin ang nuclear program ng Iran na iginiit nilang para sa mapayapang layunin. Git pa nila, lalo pa raw paiipingin ang pagsulong nito sa gitna ng tensyon. Sa kasagsagan ng tensyon, nagbanta ang Iran na isasara ang Strait of Hormuz, isang makitid na lagusan kung saan dumadaan ang halos 20% ng langis sa buong mundo. Bagamat hindi pa ito isinara, nagdulot na ng panik ang banta ng Iran. Tumaas ang presyo ng langis. Umabot sa $78 kada barrels ang crudo. Damang-dama ng buong mundo ang epekto ng digmaan. Ang pandaigdigang merkado nataranta. Sa kasagsagan ng gyera, bumagsak ng 2% ang US S&P 500 at tumaas ng 30% ang gastos sa maritime insurance na nagpabigat sa kalakalan sa Asya. Sa Pilipinas, na umaas sa imported na langis, lalong tumaas ang presyo ng gasolina, LPG at bilihin na nagpalala sa inflation. Ang mga Pinoy na nasa Middle East na nais bumalik sa Pilipinas dahil sa takot na hirapan makauwi. Kapag tumataas ang presyo ng langis, sumasabay din ang gasto sa produksyon ng mga bilihin, kaya't ramdam ang epekto nito hindi lang sa petrolyo kundi sa buong ekonomiya. May panukalang fuel subsidy para sa mga PUV. Pero sapat kaya ito? Isa itong paalala na kahit malayo ang labanan, ramdam.
In northern India, flash floods triggered by a sudden cloud burst have left a trail of devastation in the Himalayan state of Uttarakhand. At least 4 people are confirmed dead, with over 50 still missing. Rescue operations are now in full swing. Carla Abellana reports.
Raging floodwaters tore through Darali village in Uttarkhand district on Tuesday, engulfing homes, sweeping away buildings, and leaving entire families missing. Drone and cell phone video shows torrents of muddy water smashing through the remote village. Debris piling up so high, some rooftops are barely visible. The disaster struck after a cloud burst, a short but intense burst of rain, triggered a massive mudslide in the nearby Kirgad Valley, a known flash flood zone during India's monsoon season. Rescue teams from the Army, National Disaster Response Force, and local authorities are working on a war footing, according to Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. 3 helicopters have been requested as search efforts intensify. Officials say the death toll could have been much higher. Most villagers were attending a fair when the flood struck. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered condolences and vowed full government support for the relief effort. Schools in nearby districts, including Dehradun and Haridwar, have been ordered shut as more rain is forecast. Experts warn the cloud bursts like this are becoming more frequent, blamed on climate change and unchecked development in vulnerable mountain zones. Back in 2013, similar floods in Uttarakhand killed over 6,000 people. The World Meteorological Organization now calls such disaster a distress signal from Earth's destabilizing water cycle. Rescue teams say the next 48 hours are critical. More rain is expected, and the search for the missing continues in treacherous conditions. Reporting for Newsline World, Carla Abellana, SMNI News.
Malaysia's King Sultan Ibrahim is in Russia for a historic state visit, his first since ascending the throne. The trip is seen as a major step toward deepening ties between the two countries, with high-level talks set at the Kremlin and meetings with top Russian business leaders. Franco Baranda has more.
Touching down in Moscow Tuesday evening, His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim Iskandar, the 17th King of Malaysia, began a 6-day state visit at the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin. His arrival marks a milestone in Malaysia-Russia relations, signaling growing cooperation between the two countries. The King's aircraft landed at Vnukovo II International Airport. He was welcomed by senior Russian officials, including the Minister of Science and Higher Education, Valery Falkov, and Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Pankin. Accompanying His Majesty were top Malaysian officials, Defense Minister Mohammed Khalil Nordin, Foreign Ministry Secretary General Amran Mohammed Zain, and Malaysian Ambassador to Russia, Cheong Lun Lai. On Wednesday, Sultan Ibrahim heads to the Kremlin for talks with President Putin. The agenda: expanding cooperation in trade, technology, and energy. The two leaders are also expected to discuss sustainable development and cultural exchange. The King will also meet with Russian business leaders to discuss investment opportunities, highlighting Malaysia's push to strengthen economic diplomacy. The visit will conclude with a formal state dinner hosted by President Putin. Seen as a reflection of Malaysia's active role on the global stage, the visit also reinforces the symbolic power of the monarchy in modern diplomacy. Sultan Ibrahim is also scheduled to visit key innovation and industrial hubs during the trip, with more announcements expected in the coming days. Reporting for Newsline World, Franco Baranda, SMNI News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is pushing for stronger health ties with India after meeting one of its top officials in New Delhi. The courtesy call comes as both countries explore ways to improve healthcare, with India offering a model the Philippines could follow. Jayne Codnita reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. met with Bharatiya Janata Party chair and India's Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Shri Jagat Prakash Nadda, during a courtesy call held at the Taj Mahal Hotel in New Delhi on Tuesday. The meeting focused on strengthening health cooperation between the Philippines and India. According to Philippine Health Secretary Ted Herbosa, who was present during the discussions, the BJP proposed a health collaboration initiative aimed at exchanging medical expertise and best practices in healthcare systems.
And yung unang part of the meeting, we discussed the healthcare system of India, how they have covered with costs yung about 600 million individuals in India for maternal care, hypertension check, cancer of the breast and oral cancer and even cervical cancer.
The Bharatiya Janata Party, India's ruling political party since 2014 under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is the largest political organization in India in terms of parliamentary and state legislative representation. Under its leadership, India has launched significant healthcare reforms, many of which could offer valuable insights for the Philippines.
So napakaganda. Nakakapag-provide sila, ginagamit nila yung ASHA workers nila, which are similar to our barangay health workers, to navigate them to get good healthcare. So it's a model we can use, and then may telemedicine sila. Meron tayong bilateral with India. So this is on health and different things.
Prior to this, President Marcos Jr. and Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting at Hyderabad House in New Delhi, marking a significant step forward in Philippine-India relations, as both leaders officially elevated ties to a full-fledged strategic partnership. Joined by the respective cabinet secretaries, the two leaders discussed a broad range of issues, including defense cooperation, health initiatives, and economic collaboration. This has been Jayne Codnita, SMNI News.
From rice paddies that look like paintings to high-tech drones transforming how farms are run and fields of sunflowers that double as tourist magnets, China is showcasing the many faces of modern agriculture. It's a blend of beauty, technology, and economic promise, all booming across the countryside. Well, Bunda brings us this good news roundup from the heart of China.
In Chapchal-Shiba Autonomous County, the rice fields have transformed into living canvases, vivid mosaics of green, gold, and red, perfectly timed for peak sightseeing season. From above, the landscape resembles massive paintings, intricately designed with different colored rice varieties that form stunning, large-scale artwork.
我们来这里参观，看到这里风景很美的，我心里好高兴。
It's not just a feast for the eyes. Local officials say this fusion of farming and tourism is drawing more visitors and helping boost rural development in the region. From crops to canvas, Xinjiang's rice fields are proving that nature truly is an artist. In China, the future of farming is already here as drones are fast becoming a farmer's most trusted tool. These lightweight machines are being used to spray crops with precision, monitor field conditions, and collect real-time data on plant health. And with artificial intelligence or AI-powered software, they can even detect pests or water shortages long before human eyes can.
What we're seeing out here is not just high-tech gadgetry, it's actually a bold idea. Taking smart tools and serving the many and not just the few. This used to be back-breaking work, but now it's attracting high-skill, high-tech workers, a whole new generation.
With drone tech soaring high, China's farmers are proving that tradition and innovation can go hand in hand, paving the way for a more sustainable and high-tech future in agriculture. Meanwhile, at Uwea Island Wetland Park, more than 400,000 sunflowers are now in full bloom, spanning across nearly 11 hectares of dazzling yellow. Families, tourists, and nature lovers are flocking to the site to soak in the vibrant landscape.
向日葵花已经开了，所以带着小朋友过来一起看一下。好看吗？
我是从南京过来旅游的，听朋友说这边的向日葵花开了，过来一看，真的是太漂亮了。
The park's sunflowers are a dwarf variety of American oil sunflower, known for their bright color and compact height. The blooming period lasts about 20 days, making this a fleeting but stunning seasonal attraction. But it's not just about the view. Once the season ends, the sunflower seeds will be harvested and pressed for oil, adding economic value to this visual feast. It's a picture-perfect example of beauty meeting utility, where nature brings joy and purpose, all in one field of gold. Reporting for Newsline World, Wela Abunda, SMNI News.
An adorable showdown between a baby hippo and his mom is winning hearts online, proving once again that the mom stare knows no species. At Tanganyika Wildlife Park in Kansas, 5-week-old pygmy hippo Mars was caught on camera refusing to leave the pool after playtime. The viral video, which has already amassed over 4.6 million likes, shows little Mars refusing to get out of the pool at the end of playtime. A patient zookeeper gently lifts him out of the water, only for the wiggly rebel to make a quick escape and cannonball back in. But just when it seemed like Mars was getting his way, the camera cuts to his mom, Posey, standing still, silently locking eyes with her baby. Mars quickly climbed out of the water and followed her tantrum over. According to the zoo, this end-of-the-day standoff is a regular thing and Mars is still nursing, so unlike the adult hippos, he's not motivated by food. Viewers online are calling it peak mom energy, proof that sometimes one look really does say it all. For a showbiz update, Justin Bieber is giving fans a rare look at life behind the scenes, featuring wife Hailey and their baby boy Jack in his new music video. And from one pop icon to another, Lady Gaga leads the 2025 VMAs with 12 nominations, followed closely by Bruno Mars and Kendrick Lamar. Let's take a look with Sigrid Castañeda.
Pop star Justin Bieber is giving fans a rare look at life off stage, with his one-year-old son Jack making a subtle debut in his new music video. In the black and white visual for Yukon, Bieber also shares quiet moments with wife Hailey. Shot in Spain and Italy, the video was directed by Cole Bennett and filmed in a nostalgic vintage style. Jack's face remains mostly hidden, honoring the couple's choice to keep him out of the spotlight. Fans are calling it one of Bieber's most personal videos yet. Yukon is the second single of his new album, Swag, a softer side of Bieber and a glimpse of the family behind the fame. American singer and mother monster Lady Gaga took center stage at the 2025 Video Music Awards, leading the pack with an impressive 12 nominations. Right behind the global pop icon is Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga's collaborator on Die With A Smile, racking up 11 VMA nominations, followed closely by Kendrick Lamar with 10 nominations. That's not all. Lady Gaga is also up for the Artist of the Year award, a milestone she's achieved before, having previously won awards like Best New Artist and Best Female Video. Video of the Year nominees includes Ariana Grande for Brighter Days Ahead, Billie Eilish for Birds of a Feather, Kendrick Lamar for Not Like Us, Rosé and Bruno Mars for Apata, Sabrina Carpenter for her Man-Child, and also The Weeknd and Playboi Carti for their collab single, Timeless. 7 artists are nominated for Artist of the Year. Several artists are nominated for both Video of the Year and Song of the Year, including Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars for Die With A Smile, and Rosé and Bruno Mars for Apata, and also Sabrina Carpenter and 6 other standard artists on the list. Aside from Video of the Year, Artist of the Year, and Song of the Year, Lady Gaga also earned nominations for Best Collaboration, Best Pop, and Best Album. Meanwhile, her latest release, Abracadabra, scored 6 nods, which are Best Direction, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, and Wit. This is Sigrid Castañeda, your citizen correspondent, bringing you latest showbiz.
U.S. President Donald Trump is setting the stage for what he calls the greatest Olympics ever. Trump has signed an executive order creating a sweeping federal task force to support the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles. Val de Vinagracia has the full story.
At the White House on Tuesday, Donald Trump signed an executive order mobilizing nearly every corner of the federal government to help deliver a safe and spectacular 2028 Olympics. The event is scheduled to take place from the 14th to the 30th of July 2028. Under the order, agencies including the State Department, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Secret Service, and the Department of Transportation will coordinate efforts to secure the games and streamline operations on the ground. The goal? A smooth, secure Olympics that lives up to America's promise and its history.
In 2028, the Olympics is bringing back our national pastime, baseball. Wow.
The LA Games will open at the historic Memorial Coliseum, the same venue that hosted the Olympics in 1932 and again in 1984. The announcement also included a big presentation moment. Trump was gifted a set of original medals from those 1984 games.
Can I say that I won them athletically?
Yes, sir.
That would be a great honor.
LA 2028 Olympics Chair Casey Wasserman says this level of federal involvement could be a game changer.
The eyes of the world will be on this country as we open the 2028 Olympics. We expect more than 150 heads of state will come to the Games. We'll host approximately 11,000 Olympic and 4,500 Paralympic athletes. This will be the equivalent of producing 7 Super Bowls a day, sir, for 30 days.
Wasserman says the federal government has already delivered critical security funding to help local, state, and national agencies prepare. Some of the greatest brands in America have stepped up to support these games as commercial partners. And for the first time in Olympic history, the torch relay will travel through all 50 U.S. states.
We've unlocked the opportunity to level up our planning and deliver the largest and yes, greatest games for our nation ever.
To recall, the Trump administration recently banned transgender women from competing in Olympic women's sports.
And thank him for recently banning men from competing in women's sports. That's a big deal. The United States will not let men steal trophies from women at the 2028 Olympics.
With just under 3 years to go, the LA 2028 team says the work is only beginning. But with full federal backing, organizers believe the U.S. is on track to host a truly historic Olympic Games. From the White House to the Coliseum, momentum is building for LA 2028. And if this task force delivers, the world might just see the biggest show America has ever staged. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Val de Vinagracia, SMNA News.
Urgency is rising as global plastic pollution takes center stage in Geneva. The United Nations has kicked off a new round of high-stakes negotiations with the goal of finalizing a legally binding treaty to curb the worsening plastic crisis. Over 1,900 participants from 179 countries, including scientists, environmental groups, and industry leaders, are gathering for the 10-day summit at the UN office in Geneva. The focus is a sweeping draft agreement aiming to transform the entire plastics life cycle, from design and production to disposal. Move the world toward a circular economy, limiting the flow of plastics into the environment. UN figures show humanity will use more than 500 million tons of plastic this year alone, with 400 million tons likely ending up as waste. Officials warn that without bold action, plastic pollution could triple by 2060, posing major threats to both human health and the environment. Negotiations follow a breakdown in talks in December last year in Busan, South Korea, underscoring the challenge of reaching a global consensus. Work on the treaty began in 2022. In Thailand, the Filipino spirit was on full display as overseas workers marked Buwan ng Wika 2025 with pride and passion. With traditional games, heartfelt performances, and a strong sense of community, the event proved that love for language and heritage knows no borders. This story from Anisa de Guzman.
Led by KOJC Thailand in partnership with the Green Rice Movement Thailand and the overseas Filipino workers, a vibrant celebration of Buwan ng Wika took place for 2025 in Thailand. Under the theme Cultivating Filipino and Native Languages, Historic and Nation Building, the event highlighted Filipino traditional games, patriotic poetry, and songs aimed at promoting love and appreciation for our language and culture even while living abroad. From patentero to poetry, from sipa to singing, the Filipino community in Thailand pulled out all the stops to celebrate this year's National Language Month with pride and passion. In line with Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy's advocacy to strengthen Filipino patriotism, the celebration spearheaded by KOJC Thailand in partnership with the Jesus Christ Society Foundation and the Green Rice Movement. The celebration was more than just fun and games. It was a vibrant showcase of Filipino identity, rooted in language, culture, and unity. Under the theme, Paglinang ng Filipino at Katutubong Wika, Makasaysayan sa Pagbuo ng Bansa, which translates to Developing Filipino and Indigenous Languages, a Historic Force in Nation Building. OFWs and their families filled the venue with energy and nostalgia. Traditional Filipino games sparked laughter and memories. Original poetry and songs stirred the hearts of the audience. To cap off the festivities, raffle draws and prize giveaways added even more joy, symbolizing the strong camaraderie and unity of Filipinos living abroad. All of it a tribute to the richness of Filipino heritage and a powerful reminder that even overseas, the love for our language remains alive and well.
Okay, unang-una ang layunin ng event na ito, pagselebrar ng Buwan ng Wika, ay para mapagtipon-tipon lahat ng mga Pilipino dito sa Thailand na kahit nasa ibang bansa tayo, ipakita natin sa buong mundo na tayo ay Pilipino at ipakita din natin kung gaano kakulay at ang malapiastang selebrasyon ng Buwan ng Wika.
Una po sa lahat, gusto ko magpasalamat sa organisasyon ng Filipino community sa Thailand, sa SMNI, sa Jesus Christ Foundation, sa pag-spearhead po ng okasyong ito. Kasi po, dito lang po natin nabubuo ang pagkakaisa, pagkakaunawaan at yung may pakita natin yung pagmamahal natin sa wikang Filipino, sa pagka-Pilipino natin kahit nasa ibang bansa po tayo.
Masaya ako kasi nararamdaman ko na parang nasa Pilipinas lang ako even though I'm OFW here. So bali isang karangalan bilang isang Pilipino na ipagdiwang natin ang Buwan ng Wika.
Masaya kasi kahit na andito tayo labas sa Pilipinas, nagagamit pa din natin yung ating pagka-Pilipino. At nagagamit na i-enjoy natin yung wikang Pilipino. Kasi bihira lang magkaroon ng mga ganitong activities, mga aktibidades na kung saan tayo po ay gumagamit ng ating sariling wika.
Isa pong napakagandang opportunity at heartwarming yung event na pwede tayong dumalo sa isang ganitong klaseng event kahit na nandito tayo sa Thailand. Iba kasi yung kapag you belong with the same group of people, isang community. Kahit na wala tayo sa Pilipinas, it's very humbling to remind us about our language, about our own culture.
Well, I really enjoyed playing the games, meeting new people, and what stood out for me was the food. As always, I love the food.
It was my first time also to celebrate this kind of activity, especially this month as we will celebrating Buwan ng Wika, especially here in Thailand pa jud, no? So, happy and blessed po na, and especially nanalo ako sa singing contest. Ang gusto ko lang talaga is makibahagi, share ko po yung talent ko na binigay ni Lord. So, it was an unexpected. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa privilege or opportunity po na makisali sa ganitong activity. And wala talaga akong masasabi. Salamat po. So lahat ng papuri para po sa Panginoon.
Iba-iba man tayo ng paniniwala, iba-iba man tayo ng mga political agendas, isa pa rin ang lahi natin. So, dapat yun ang hindi mawala sa ating mga Pilipino. ang pagmamahal sa bawat isa.
Through the collaborative efforts of KOJC Thailand, Green Rice Movement Thailand, and the dedicated Filipino community, the spirit of unity and love for our language was proudly showcased. From traditional games to meaningful poems and songs, a truly historic celebration touched the hearts of every Filipino in Thailand. I'm Anissa de Guzman, your global citizen correspondent for God and our beloved country, the Philippines.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. The greatest love is when you are willing to live and die for a cause. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Jayne Codnita. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.